Well, okay. Is this one work? You never know. I might just not be able to stream. I don't know. I paid my internet bill, so I don't really understand. It's either them choking me, or it's YouTube choking me, or somebody's choking me. But I just want to do a live stream that I could actually keep up to keep you mugs updated. I've been doing a bulking cycle, so I've been eating a lot. And I just finished off like my 2 packets of oatmeal, some Nanners, protein powder in there. Don't even judge me, it's Nilla. And then some peanut butter. And if I go to the gym right now, that's coming all back up. So, oh yeah. So I feel like maybe a quick stream might give me some distance in between that for my body to digest. But the problem is I've had to restart the stream 9 times because something's fucking with it. I have a hard time. It's weird because months ago, I was able to do live streams pretty much on command. And despite the fact that they weren't super professional or, super smooth, they were still doable. Now it's like something's happening to me every time I try to, stream. It's like I get stuck in choppiness and then it won't even let me stop the stream. I usually have to power off my computer. So I don't really know what's going on here, but yeah. You can actually see, I think I was running around town and you can see right here where the salt stain is from just the pure sweat. Because once I get out of the gym, I'll generally just, it's in like kind of a small, suburban town that they want to call it. It's a town for the South. It's a town. So I noticed that as the people in the stream go up, the harder it is, the more it chops. And I'm thinking to myself, it's only 4 fucking people. So is YouTube just such a shit website that it can't figure out how to stream correctly? Or is it just they don't dedicate that kind of infrastructure to, knaves like myself, to horrible ne'er-do-wells? Probably that. But when I get out of the gym, I throw my backpack on, it's got my water bladder inside of it, and I will generally just tool around town playing Pokemon Go because it's the only place that has the Pokestops. Yeah. And so I sweated a lot, and I think you can probably still see. I don't know if I can make it out here. I wonder if in the mirror it looks god-awful. I have a red neck right now because I stood in the sun too long talking to somebody I recognized. Saw his car downtown, and I said, "Hey, buddy." We started talking, so there's that. Well, usually the point of these streams is that when someone leaves a comment, I can kind of respond to it. So I guess none of you know if this is going to stay up, so you're probably not going to want to, but this one looks to be smooth enough. It looks like it's actually streaming instead of just stopping, jamming, and popping it, locking it. Matt S. says, how do you work out your chest? I know. I noticed that you've all been staring at my chest because it's just... if I'm standing in the mirror, I can flex a little bit. Hang on. Come on. Get a little flex going. Okay. Well, right now, the main chest exercises that I do are the chest press, the bench press, the fly trap, whatever you call the fly trap when you're doing it manually, when you're laying down on a bench with dumbbells, dumbbells, not barbells. Dumbbells, barbells, kettlebells. Different weights. So what I will do usually, what I did yesterday, for example, is I'm trying to do kind of a tiered lift to atrophy workout. So I'll generally start with a little cardio warm up, and then and I'm making that cardio really small. I was doing HIIT cardio warm ups, but I've realized that that's more beneficial in the cutting phase. Crawling in my skin. No, not cutting phase. When you want to cut down on the body fat that you've gained while eating all this food and also lifting to try to add muscle on. As I'm not sure if I think that lean gains are a myth. I kind of do. I kind of don't think lean gains are a thing. Maybe they are if you're doing a Pretty Boy Floyd workout to get Pretty Boy Floyd muscle. But if you actually want effective muscle, you got to get big and greasy looking. So do my cardio workout, and then unfortunately my bench press is kind of weak. I'm stuck at 140 maximum, and what I'll do is sets of 4 or 3 depending on, because I don't have anyone spotting me and I don't want to fuck up. I don't want to choke myself out on the bench. So I'll do as many of those as I can. Usually those sets look to be about maybe 5 or 6 of those, of 1, 2, 3, 4, puts back. And then I'll give it a minute in between each of those because I've started resting for a minute because that's how you let your adenosine triphosphate stores, your glycogen or whatever it is, all the sugar in your muscles build back up. It takes about a minute to rest. So do that. Then I'll start doing curls, and I start the curls at 40s on each hand and do about 5 of those, and then go down in increments down to like 37.5, 35, 32.5, 30, 27.5, 25s, by 1 for each set. 7, and I'll generally do the both hands turn, curl, down, turn, curl, down. My connection is unstable. Please wait while they stabilize the connection. Yeah, hey, why don't you guys stabilize this? There's a bunch of geese outside. They're fucking with the live stream. I mean, before I was able to pretty much reliably get on live stream and like open up action figures with minimal fuck ups. At this rate, I know that I basically can't trust YouTube, and I know that I shouldn't probably do that because then the footage will get botched. And since decent plastic crap is hard to come by, I don't even know if you can hear me right now. Just gonna wait until it unfucks itself. I don't really know how I would know. All right, well, it seems to be a little bit better now. Okay. I'm sure this is really entertaining for you that every few minutes I have to take like a 3-minute break to wait for this to smooth out, but I assure you that nothing has changed on my setup, and so therefore I don't really think that, we did get new neighbors. That apartment was empty for the longest time. They probably have a Wi-Fi setup. It's probably fucking with my shit. Fantastic. Anyway, so that's kind of how my upper arms. I do my chest and arms on the same day. I do my core and my legs on the same day, and that's what I'm going to do today. And then I do my back on its own. And back day is a weird day because you got to be careful. It also revolves around your arms. You don't want to overwork these because I really hope I'm not getting something messed up with either the rotator cuff or sometimes I get a little pain here in the connective tissue. But that could also be due to climbing because climbing is hard on your fucking tissues. And Matt says, that's cool. Have you ever tried DMT? And no, I haven't. Excellent meme. I award you 1 meme points. I haven't tried DMT. Drugs are bad, and if you ever do them, you should be shot in your face until you're dead. So there you go. That's how that works. Remember, you can't do things the government says not to do. So there's that. Taxation totally isn't theft. I hear DLive is pretty cool. I don't know what that is. If I was going to move to another site, I'd probably move to either Minds or BitChute. At this point, I think BitChute's pretty safe because of the way that it operates, a peer-to-peer network. I'm sure the U.S. government will just declare that outlawed as soon as it starts to jockey with Google for control of the narrative. I can hear you, A-OK. We can hear you. Who's your ISP in the South? It's Spectrum. So, holy shit, the views are off the charts. YouTube might crash. Fuck off. Yeah, well, hey, look, I don't know. I've had only up to 45 people. Remember when I had 25,000 subscribers? Do you remember that shit? Do you remember when each of my videos used to get anywhere from 50 to 100,000 hits? Remember when things were fun on YouTube? Oh, and now the stream is fine at 11. So what happened? Would my neighbors turn off the Wii U? Like, what the fuck happened? Swear to God, the other day they were playing, I think it was in that stream, I mentioned that. I was like, they're playing an acoustic version of Believer by Imagine Dragons. Like, yeah, the lady's got a nice voice. May God bless you, Tolstoy. Have a good workout. I will definitely need it. Spectrum is shit sometimes, and you were the neckbeard hero we all needed. I know, I was. I was the hero that we, oh man. Goddamn, what if we did a, oh no, oh, you just unleashed some horrible shit into the world. I should do a skit that is a reference to the ending of The Dark Knight, except for it's like Tolstoy with like a police commissioner or some shit like that, you know, and it's just like, what is the crime? The crime was like, you broke an action figure or an NES or something like that, and Commissioner Gordon is like, he broke 2 action figures, you know, one of them a NECA original, and it's just Tolstoy going like, but I can be those things. All right, we're done here. That was that with myself. I don't go on to Reddit. I don't know. I don't really go on to Reddit. I hear it has a reputation for being kind of, let's just say it rhymes with plucky. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't go on to Reddit anymore. I have a hard time getting any information from the internet because it would seem that as days go by, our merciful, wonderful tech overlords are more and more trying to engineer systems of control to keep an iron grip on the social narrative that I think they felt that they lost control of some years back, and they're trying to get it back. I remember when Facebook was full of just spicy memes, and now they've sanitized it, and all I see are just watered down shitty memes of a certain political affiliation that I'm sure you can all guess, and it's pretty god awful, and that ends up driving me to other websites to look for memes to get my chuckles. Can't talk about those websites, but you know, I think you can kind of figure that one out. Favorite Firefly episode? Well, probably the one where it's all flashbacks to how the crew assembled, and in the very end, it's Malcolm trying to get the ship running again. Otherwise, he's going to die of asphyxiation. God damn. LinkedIn says, don't use Google. Don't like Google. Use DuckDuckGo. Yes, I mean I do use DuckDuckGo for searches, but what I mean is that if I go onto social media platforms so that I can laugh with my friends and make jokes about, you know. Well, anyway, I can't anymore because all of those jokes. I even noticed if I scroll through my Facebook, where I've just re-upped things that other people have put up, a lot of it has just been like removed by user. But what it actually means is like, this content is thought crime, and they've just removed it. And it's like, well, okay, I was enjoying that meme, but I guess I won't be able to go back and see it now because you know, suicided that person or some shit. So, effectively. Most social media now is just a giant fucking soy echo chamber. I was actually at the gym the other day, and I was doing calf presses, and somebody had turned the giant industrial fan so it was aimed at the calf press machine. Yes, there's a machine for it. Yeah, we don't. Sometimes I use machines. Goddamn, the machine purists are out there. I can smell them. Anyway, and I don't like cold air being blown on me when I'm trying to get my sweat on, when I'm trying to, like, you know, work my shit, you know, shake my booty. And I was not having a good day, and it pissed me off, and I almost kicked the fan over. I instead kind of kicked it and skidded a little bit to the side, which I was surprised it was that light. And before that, I announced, who turned on the soy air? That's actually what I said. I called it the soy air because I don't understand who, well, actually, I know who it is, who goes to the gym and doesn't want to sweat, but maybe you should find your own gym. My gym is a grime gym that caters to, you know, military types. So something tells me that these guys, you know, don't mind working up a sweat. I remember when you made that review of that shitty Walmart SOG pack. Do you still have that? I do. Yeah, it's in the gear closet. And I meant to give that to somebody, but I do this thing where I promise to send people stuff, and then I never do. Hey man, sorry I can't stay because I need to drive. You can both have my stream up and drive. Just like, just hold that up, you know what I mean? And then just, oh yeah, whatever. I'm not super high energy because I haven't slammed an energy drink yet. This is just me running on oatmeal. Fuck. Actually, I need to get some water. Oh. Had to get my trusty orange Nalgene out. Sorry about that. I always worry if I'm overhydrating. Not that I think I'm going to get like, what's that called? Hyponatremia or whatever the hell, water on the brain. But I don't know. I always feel like I have to be sweating a certain amount in order for me to ingest frigidly cool liquid. But almost forgot to ask, have you ever listened to Sabaton? No, I have not. Do you take pre-workout? No. For a while, though, when I first started going back to the gym, I was taking, what's that shit called? Jackroot powder, which is supposed to boost testosterone. I do a lot of stuff to try to boost testosterone. I don't know if it works. I'm of the opinion that it can't hurt. And anyone that I talk seriously with about T levels as a health thing, there's generally this soy glazed eye, they get that fluoride stare, and they'll generally mock you for it. And I'm just like, really? Would you, I don't know, man, would you not take it seriously if it was cigarettes? You know what I mean? If I told you, hey, quit smoking, it's, it'll give you lung cancer. You know what I mean? If I said, hey, man, you better stop, eating the triple deep fried cheeseburgers or else you're going to get a brain aneurysm. Well, why is that, true health risks, but, low testosterone is not? And I guess the insinuation is that if you have low T, it's just because you have like bad genes or something, or it's either your fault or you should feel ashamed about that, which I think that's like right up there next to mocking somebody in a wheelchair or mocking somebody who's going to rehabilitation therapy. Like, I got a friend who is actually in a wheelchair and has tried to take up an X game, and it's interesting to see how they do it. And I like every single post that person makes because, it's the spirit of good sportsmanship. Actually, somewhere along the way, the algorithm, decided to show me some cool video of some lady who's missing that part of her, here up from her arm, and she still rock climbs. And she went to like the para ladies rock climbing competition in Sweden or wherever the fuck. And she went in last place, but she was crying at the end because she's like, at least I got here and at least I did it. So the problem with men's testosterone levels is that they've been going down since the 1980s. They've dropped 20%. And I can tell you that this is definitely due to environmental damages, mostly too much soy in the diet. Glyphosate, which is a pesticide that's was created by Monsanto, excuse me, and essentially it works with their bioengineered crops that can withstand it. Their crops can withstand it. It would kill normal crops, but as long as you get Monsanto crops and then spray with that there Roundup glyphosate, well, it seeps into our groundwater, and LOL, it mimics estrogen. Also, just the amount of women on oral birth control, don't even get me started on how dangerous that is for them. That's going to be, in 20 years, if we're all still here, that's going to be the smoking. Right now, we're in like the 1950s phase of like, no, it can't be bad. And every woman that I tell, I'm like, hey, that is actually damaging your IQ levels. That's actually going to give you ovarian cancer. It can give you breast cancer. You're not supposed to be pumping yourself full of estrogen every month. And the re that you hear back from them is just the most guttural. They just hate that fucking shit. But all right, well, when you're 30 and you're sterile, you'll be crying. And unfortunately, this gets into their system, and then they urinate it into our water. We can't clean it out of the water. You can't even triple distill that shit out because it's estrogen, and therefore it's a it's a hormone. It wants to cling to the damn water. And this is what the Jones was saying when he was flipping out and yelling about the gay frogs. There were studies done where they pulled. It was actually fish, really. I think. No, there were some frogs, there were some fish. But either way, things living in the water near the Potomac are becoming hermaphroditic from the amount of environmental damage that we've been doing. And by the way, I got to plug it. Hang on. I know, the chair is what you tune in to see. You don't really care about me. That's fair. Anyway, what's this? Jared Diamond. Jared Diamond's Collapse. I actually really wanted to get his Pulitzer Prize winning Guns, Germs, and Steel, but when I went to the store, they didn't have it, but they had this book by him, and his main premise is essentially that all systematic societal collapse comes about from the mismanagement of resources and from the destruction of ecological stability. So, and he goes over several instances in the ancient world, like Easter Island, where you cut down all the damn trees, and guess what? And all it takes is just something that is then it's a chain reaction. No trees means no birds means no meat, and then all you have left is your farming. And if there's one bad season where there's drought, and if you cut down all the trees, I forget what the other reasoning was. It's like without by clear cutting all of the island, they were left with not the land. They overfarmed it, and there were no phosphates left in the land, and then they starved to death. And it's interesting that they were landlocked on that island and trapped, had nowhere else to go. They didn't have the technology to leave the island, despite the fact that they actually had the technology to get to the island in the first place. But they used giant canoes they made out of trees. If you cut down your trees, you can't make any canoes to leave. And they said that near the end, what written records we have or what oral traditions are left from the people who were there when the Europeans found them again basically stated that that time was just lawless and cannibalism was the rule of the day. And you really got to think like, okay, well, if, we keep polluting if we fuck up our ecosystem so bad that everyone turns hermaphroditic, or we have a problem with our sex hormones or whatever. So I take that shit very seriously because that's a big men's health issue. And it's not just men's health, it's everybody's fucking health issue. You need testosterone to govern your sleep. You need it to do, for general happiness and confidence, for, muscle production. So essentially, I've never had mine tested. I don't care. I don't know. There's nothing. I mean, I don't go to doctors. I literally had a medical emergency that was so bad. I was in so much pain. I thought I was going to shoot myself. And I don't mean like that, like, oh, I could just shoot myself. I mean, like, I was going to end it. I was like, well, I can't keep living like this. And I don't have the money to go see a doctor because America is a first world country. Anyway, so I forget what I said all this for. Oh, I was taking jackfruit powder because it's supposed to bump your testosterone levels, but I don't know. Other stuff is supposed to be just having the proper diet, getting enough sleep, working out. I don't think that it helps them have a high stress environment that I am constantly stressed about bills, constantly stressed about the car, constantly stressed about my job, but what are you going to do? I can't fix it. Another weird one is, and the reason why I switched to shorts is that keeping everything cool down there. Like apparently, men who come from lower climates with lower temperatures will generally have right. It's not men who come from those areas. It's that when it is colder, your testicles produce more testosterone, which is why they hang low. Not that you needed to know that. Not that you cared. Well, Sabaton is a metal band that sings about war and event. Just the one. There was only one event in history and has some kick-ass songs. Yeah, but most metal bands are shit. I'm really sorry about that. I can't do one non-melodic songs, and two, if your vocal zone like somebody is like taking like a spiked strap on and like just shoving it up your ass, like I can't do that shit. That's not talented. I mean, I know a lot of metalheads. If you all like metal, that's fine. But man, I've heard so much bad metal that people think is good over the years. I like certain metal bands like it's weird, but I'll pick and choose. I like Ronnie Van Dio. I like Black Sabbath. You know, if you count those. The easiest way to piss off a metalhead is to explain the origins of metal and to tell them, like, yeah, it all really dates back to acid rock, like In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida by Iron Butterfly or Deep Purple. You know what I mean? Like instead of trying to be fucking edgy, you know, like, in this death and we rape and it's death. Fucking, it all comes back to dudes who did a shit ton of acid and just like played with the like really heavy sounds of like early synthesizers and distortion pedals and shit like that, and came up with In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida had a sound to it that the Rolling Stones described as metallic sounding, which is where, because have you ever heard, I think it's a bright pedal. I don't know too much about music, but you know what I mean? What I know from my old man who was much more musically inclined than I, and would say things like, when listening to Jackson Browne's Running on Empty, which, by the way, was recorded in Merriweather Post Pavilion, Maryland. You know, you hear that effect on the guitar that makes it sound tinny and sharp, and he told me it was a bright pedal. You know, my uncle actually toured with some people, so music was kind of in my family's, you know, but I didn't inherit that. I got the hots. Can you make a GoPro video of you rock climbing? No, but I can make Hal can do that. He has the GoPro. I do not. We thought about doing that. Well, rather, the day that last time we went rock climbing, we should have brought the GoPro, but we did not. We forgot about it. Yes, Creo Boy says, I like how it went 10-minute rant about pollution. You remember Captain Planet? From now on, I think I really like the Robot Chicken sketch with what's his face, Ted Turner, running around dressed as Captain Planet and dropping CEOs out of windows and screaming, "Protect the environment or I'll fucking kill you." Like, yes, please protect the environment or I'll fucking kill you. Do lizard people run the world? I don't know. I don't think they're lizard people. But I think they barely just count as people. And to be perfectly honest, fuck them. They have addresses and families. And I don't know if you know this, but Sears does sell wood chippers. I'm not saying that those facts are related. You need to draw your own conclusions. Sabaton is a European power metal. Power metal are more about the melodies and amazing vocals, not that screeching stuff. You know, maybe one day I'll give it a listen. Thank you, Cthulhu. I was gonna say it, but YouTube likes to fuck my ass for no reason. I think Through Fire and the Flames. Okay, I do like that one track by what's it called? Dragon Force. However, they can't actually do that in real life. Like if you look up them ever trying to play that live, they can't. I noticed that most bands these days can't play any of their music live. So that's not a sign that it's all really overproduced. A lot of times I will look back at older bands. The one that really got me, and I was just like, no, there's no way they could do this live. And I listened to the live rendition of The Outlaws, Greengrass, and High Tides Forever. And goddamn, dude. Maybe because cocaine was more ubiquitous. Maybe back then rock stars, like, I don't know, well, maybe rock stars today still get drugs, but I have a feeling like it's harder to get them, you know what I mean, because of, you know, the DEA and whatnot. But back in the day, rock stars could, you know, like fucking Leonard Skinner could fucking like rail coke probably on stage and no one would give a fuck. They'd probably do it off the goddamn amplifiers. And they were with that triple guitar attack shit. So there's that. Oh, man. It's fucking hot in here. It's very fucking hot. My recommendations are 82nd All the Way, Great War, Panzerkampf, and Blood of Bannockburn. Okay, what I don't understand is 82nd All the Way is a reference to the 82nd Airborne, who's, you know, they used to say one of their sayings is Airborne All the Way. And that is an American institution, clearly, one that I'm one that I'm living quite near. I've literally had somebody say airborne as an affirmative to something that I was like, all right, so you're going to come back to this in 5 minutes? Airborne. And I was like, no, speak English. No, we're not on Fort Bragg. You need to speak normal, fancy pants. So, I don't understand if it's European power metal. I mean, why are they glorifying our shit? Because we ain't European, buddy. We ain't none of that there Europe. Not run by a bunch of unelected bureaucrats from Brussels who have some kind of new world order agenda. I'm just going to play with stuff on my desk. That's just generally what I'm going to do. This is one of the weakest live streams yet, but hey, I don't think we've gone too far overboard. I mean, we did talk about soy, but what's your workout today? My workout today is going to be core. I might do just core, no legs. I feel like my legs can handle more squats. I guess there'd be nothing wrong with that, but I feel like I end up usually working out for about an hour and a half, and too much of that time gets dedicated to, I don't know, I feel like I'm wasting too much time. I try to rest in between sets, though, because that helps you lift heavier shit. And I'm trying out a bunch of new stuff that seems to be more or less effective, but we'll see. I'll probably hit a plateau again. Most of my metrics have gone up a little bit, but I don't know. Let's see. Well, in that one, they sing about Alvin York. Out of what you played, what's your favorite Pokemon game? Still Red and Blue. Runners up for the new ones, anything past Red and Blue, obviously, would be either Black and White or, yeah, Black and White's probably the best one. It was probably the one that I think was closest to the spirit of Pokemon. Hey, bro, how's the Discord going? Oh, my God, to put you in the background while playing Far Cry 5. Found the camera, too. Hit you up this week about it. Wait, what? Oh, yeah. Yeah, please, actually. I guess I could use the camera. I don't know. I mean, I hate to take things from people, but fuck it. What am I supposed to say? Because I can either spend the Patreon money on a camera and then have nothing to fucking talk about. You know what I mean? Not as many people like to see me wandering around the woods. Or I could take the camera and then use the money to buy a knife, or use Patreon money to buy a knife. How is the Discord going? Well, there is no Discord, as you know. And Far Cry 5 is a great game. I would like to discuss that in further detail, but I felt like it almost needed its own video, but I don't know. I'm not a video game reviewer. I don't want to be that guy. Can I build you a gaming PC? I will donate $250 for Tolstoy Let's Plays. Jesus Christ. Well, hey, look at it this way. There is going to be some Morrowind 3. There's going to be some Elder Scrolls 3 action because I ran the OBS program. I took like a little 20-minute sample of me running around being chased by ridge cliff racers, whatever the fuck they are, the herpes of that world. And it runs smooth, so I'll be able to do that. So, yeah, there will be another Tolstoy Let's Play. Probably, I think as this winter rolls up on us, it's probably going to dominate my playlist a little bit more on the grounds that it's cheap, it's free. You know what I mean? Which is why I like doing these live streams. Look, I like bringing you guys gear reviews, and I dig the Patreon donations. I haven't checked on them in a while, though, so I don't know if they've gone up or down. They fluctuate pretty wildly. That kind of confuses me a little bit, only because it's like I have subscriptions to like HBO on Amazon Prime that are costing me like $10 a month, and it's such a minuscule amount of money, even for my broke ass, that I'm just like, I don't care to fuck with it, to go in there and unfuck with it. I'm sure I'll watch an HBO show sometime in the future or some shit like that. So for other people, it's just like I get these like notifications when I tune back in. I go on to Patreon and it's like so-and-so withdrew $1. And I was like, was the dollar breaking you? But then again, I'm not, whatever. I don't want to be that guy. I'm not gonna sit here and be like what's that, Twitch? I'm not gonna be like a fucking Twitch brat and be like, why are you spending more money? Like, it's your money, bro. You do what you do, you boo boo. But it does fluctuate, so I don't know if my calculations are correct. I should have about $100 bankrolled, and that could possibly buy a new knife. You know what I mean? If that's what you guys want to see. I don't know. Again, I would spend it on plastic crap if I thought there was anything really good to spend it on. You know what I mean? But I really don't see anything. It's kind of sad. LinkedIn says, I couldn't get into Ultra Moon. Yeah, that's because that shit on Alola was an abomination. So there's that. All the new designs were pretty terrible. They took away all the gyms. They made them the multiplayer matchmaking system just a fucking mess. So Yeah, and that's why I'm not interested in Sword and Shield. I like the setting. The whole idea of Pokemon in Scotland, wow, that's fine. I loved the setting of Hawaii. That's great. I would have really enjoyed it if you had done it good. You know, if you had made a good Pokemon game, but you didn't. So yeah, so now I just play Pokemon Go, and when Game Freak wants to unfuck themselves, they can unfuck themselves. Are you into esotericism, Tolstoy? I remember you talking about a lot of good books. I guess we can. Yeah, sure. Hang on. One of your butts. Let's see here. Well, I've already shown off Secret History of the World. I don't really have a lot of occult books, actually. Most of the, well, actually, what I do have, I'm not moving it because it's behind my battle station, and but I mean, it depends. There's most of the research that I've done to the occult is just to it's kind of a Sun Tzu, keep thy enemy closer kind of thing. And man, I never finished this. Christ, it's really boring and full of a bunch of French and Italian names, and generally just makes me want to kill everyone I read about. Good smelling book, though. I think I kind of lost it a little bit when we got to the part with Aleister Crowley and the OTO, and how supposedly, I don't know, in accordance with the book that I read, he had some sort of 33rd grade initial ceremony where, I don't even know if I can say this on YouTube. They would surprise the initiate and assault him, and then use the fecal matter and the seed material and the oil. Muluga should be here. From that whole prison showery scenario, and they would smear it on seals from the the supposed Lesser Key of Solomon. And my thought process is, every time I go to lift, I'm not thinking about tricks are going to find me so attractive. No, what I'm thinking is, I hope on Day of Judgment, God is calling underneath the war pigs crawling, that I'll have the ability to hoist the PKM, and I just need a friend to hold and help feed the chain in as we just kick in the door to wherever these people are hiding, and just take it all out, take out the trash. This is obviously a work of fiction. Clearly, none of that is real. This is a joke. I don't believe that there's a giant 40-foot concrete owl that all of our elites are praying to and sacrificing things to fire in front of, despite the fact that there's video evidence of that happening. So it's actually borrowed from a really spooky friend of mine or whatever. I never gave him back, but I wanted to take XP in Kabbalah, try to understand exactly what that was all about. I've studied a number of different religions, including some mystery religions, but to be perfectly honest, this does not really. I consider this esoteric or occult. Some people would say about that, but some people would say the same thing about, like, a lot of Eastern pantheist religions that I don't think are really occult. I mean, they're not really. I feel like the difference between an occult mystery religion and something like Tibetan Buddhism is that one of these is focused on is the craving, someone's craving a desire for power, and the other one is about freeing your mind from the chains of reality. So yeah, I have some dots in esotericism, but there's only so much you can read about that before you just, I lost interest in it. I'll probably pick up interest in it again after a while, but essentially I couldn't find a lot of concrete shit. That's what kind of bugged me, was like, everyone says this or that. I think one of the things that really pissed me off the most was, like, I don't know, the supposed Necronomicon, which there's a whole fucking story about that, you know what I mean? If you ever get a chance to read, like, the Wikipedia entry about that, take a look. And there are actual, publishing companies that have attempted to publish the Necronomicon, but nobody, nobody knows where that shit came from, because the Necronomicon is supposed to be a fictional book. So that means they had to fill a fictional tome of evil magic with something. And supposedly that shit, from what I have read, and I've gone around doing some intel collection, a lot of people who are in the know say that basically it's just a kind of a gobbledygook that this writer threw together of various different traditions mixed with a heavy dosing of Kabbalah, but that supposedly all of the Kabbalistic spells in the supposed published Necronomicon, the ones that you'll see in edgy bookstores and whatnot, are actually rigged to work against you. But I don't really believe any of that. I don't believe in any of that, but I like to read it so that I can get my head into the mind of a psychopath. My family was kind of worried when I was doing that, because my family was highly religious, and they would see what I was reading, and then, of course, my very religious, mother would be all like, "But you're going to start practicing witchcraft." And after a while, I finally just went off on them, and I was just like, you see, you think that I would practice witchcraft because that's what you think about me. You think that I am because I believe that witchcraft in and of itself kind of, and the occult and this belief in the mind can change reality, which it actually can. And there's a whole thing I can get into, but I don't have the time and I don't give a fuck. But to the extent that they believe that it can be changed into, taking the blood of a lamb and smearing it on a demon seal can summon up spirits and all that shit. Fucking, that appeals to the mind of people who feel helpless to change their reality. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing as memes, as people who make mean memes about people on the net in order to make them, that makes my dick bigger. I called that guy an incel. +1 for me. Like, you know what I do when I want to feel bigger? I train. I fucking lift, and I try to climb on rocks. Like, the last time that me and Hal went, I managed to climb a 5'8", 5'8 plus, and 2 5'9s. That last one I only climbed 75%, but I could have kept going, but a little bit of the fear kind of got into me, and I was up a little bit too high. But either way, I'm pretty fucking happy about that. That gives me the boost. If I have to cast a magical spell on somebody, I'm going to cast a magical spell on their ass with my foot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, fucking, we got AK Kadabra. That's how that fucking shit works. Like, I feel like it all appeals to the minds of psychopaths, because psychopaths demand power over everything, and it gives them that feeling, that illusion of I have the power, where I don't really give a shit if I have power over the thing. You know what I would do if I truly had the biggest urge within me to dominate the world and seize control over everything, would be so that I could kind of do a Nikola Tesla and just separate everybody and force everybody to go back to wherever they can, and just put them all in their timeout corners and be like, okay, I have now magically erected, psychic barriers around every country on Earth. You must now make do with your own natural resources or whatever, and no one can talk to each other for 100 years, and just see what happens. Like, I just want everyone, I just want to, it's like that Vampires the Masquerade campaign where we tried to stage an all-out screaming revolution against both the Sabbat and the Camarilla, the elder vampire clans. We were the two factions of Democrypt and Rebloodican, and we were just trying to fight out in all directions to make perfect libertarian future. And if we had somehow succeeded in doing that, my character was literally just going to be like, all right, gotta go now, and just walk off into the sunset and just hope for a future where everyone just fucks off and leaves each other alone. That's what I would do. Fuck, maybe if I study more occult, I can figure it out. Christian horror books. I actually thought about making a review of one of them recently. I was really thinking about talking about Frank Peretti's The Veritas Project. If you were an angsty little Christian teen, you had to have read Frank Peretti's The Veritas Project. What's even worse is they made a made-for-TV movie of it years ago. And it ended up on, well, it wasn't really made for TV, but it has that same quality content. And I think it got on Netflix for a short period of time. I should try to look for that on Amazon Prime again, because that was just that's a literal blast from the past, because those books came out and were read by me right around, like, I think almost before September 11th happened, or maybe right after. But either way, weird point in my life that I really don't remember. Just so much bad stuff that I kind of blocked it out. There's a lot of points in my life that are like that, where it's just like, no, I don't remember that. You know what I mean? Where my brain did not dedicate a lot of time. I try to remember the good stuff, not the bad stuff. You know what I mean? I think most people are like that. Tolstoy plays Half-Life. I thought about that, but to be perfectly honest, the game is so linear, which is not bad. I like linear games, but that would be boring for you guys. It would essentially just be me copying Freeman's mind, because that's all I'm going to do is just make comments about, God damn it, stop shooting at me. So, username Whylie says, do you watch motivation videos before you work out? No, should I? No, I just put on music. Just to get some fucking, pretty much all the Rocky soundtracks. Don't you judge me. Some of the Rocky soundtracks were funky as fuck. So what a lot of people don't think about, because I think people, when they think of the Rocky soundtracks, only think about Survivor, which I think that they were only there in Rocky 3 or Rocky 2 or 3. I think it's 3. I mean, they were, and then they made songs for Rocky 4, but everyone remembers 3 and 4 for that weird 80s soundtrack, but they don't realize that Rocky dates back to like the wasn't it like the mid early 70s or like something like that? It's like 74, I think, was when Rocky first came out, the first one. So the score to that by Bill Conti is fucking great, dude. If you ever listen, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll take the 80s Eye of the Tiger stuff, but the Gonna Fly Now was I think the main theme from number 1, and it's that famous dun 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 dun. But you really gotta listen to the whole track. First of all, it's got some bongos in the back. They even have a harp going, you know, laying down like a harp solo chord, whatever you want to call that. You got horns going, and you got a choir of funky black ladies going like, getting stronger. And it's just like, I want to make like a line of like motivational tapes that are that style of music with a chorus of funky black ladies who are just like telling you whatever it is that you're doing currently, and that would just be your motivation. If you're an IT guy, if you're a programmer, you know what I mean? It's just the black ladies going like, doing code now, compiling data. You know what I mean? Like I think this is a good business strategy. This is something that I would like to invest in. So please donate to my Funky Black Lady Patreon at Tolstoy on Patreon. Would you get a concealed carry license, or have you answered it before? No, probably not. In this state, enough people are packed. There's such a low crime rate, and enough people are packing heat that it makes it so that it would not be really worth it to bother somebody like me in case that I might have one. This whole state is proof concept of, you know, the NRA, you know, is belief that guns make us safer. I can tell you that part of the reason why, and I don't think I got to talk about this, you know, in the review of this, but part of the reason why I've been favoring smaller and smaller knives, just also because, you know, I'm wearing shorts and, you know, they don't have their lightweight materials that I can hike farther, and they don't have the, they won't hold a heavier knife as steadily in my pocket. It'll bounce around a bunch. Hang on. God damn it. Ugh. Sorry about that. When I talk a bunch, my nose, if I orate for too long, my schnoz starts kind of needing to drip a little bit. So part of the reason why I'm kind of into, you know, smaller knives these days is because I don't need to carry a big threatening boogeyman knife, because to be perfectly honest, ever since leaving Maryland, I haven't had the spookies from anyone once. I mean, a lot of people will say things like the military base town is scurry. A lot of people are, you know, will say that there's a lot of crying there. I'm like, it just looks like Glen Burnie. It's not. That's not really anything to write. You know, it's not anything to write home about. But I'm trying to see if I can kind of do a down flick. Yeah, I kind of can. I really love the action of this knife. I just wish it was a Spyderco. I really like this knife, though. I'm actually really enjoying the size of it. Most things don't require a much bigger blade than that to cut. You know, it gets most of the jobs done. Anyway, but yeah, so I don't really need a concealed carry. And honestly, I would open carry. Yeah. Going to that gun range and walking the distance from my car to to the outdoor range at that park, being able just to kind of carry the AK openly felt so badass. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had the Mystery Ranch pack on, and I had all my gear inside of it for, you know, the ear pro, eye pro, and all the ammo. Which, by the way, massive fucking intervention by God. Before I went to Boston, I packed up all my shit into that exact backpack, and then you know what I mean? I was about ready to roll out. It was like 4 a.m. in the morning, and some voice inside me said, empty the backpack and turn upside down and shake it. And I did, and a few lone 7.62s that I had accidentally kind of separated from the packaging fell out. And I was like, oh my God, that would have been bad. So thank God for that. Let's see. The age of plastic crap, good games, TV shows, and movies has faded. Not entirely. There is some good new stuff coming out, just few and far between. Like I said on my Facebook, I recently watched an anime that was made past 2017. Now that I've completed it, and I wanted to make a whole video about it, I command all of you, all 18 of you who are watching this, to go down to Netflix and to watch Ajin Demi-Human, because that is one of the greatest animes that I have seen in quite some time. And I think that Sato, the hat, is the main hero of that show. They act like he's the villain, but I don't quite understand. I don't think that's clever. So, well, this was a hell of a thing to hear when you join a stream. I don't know where you were when you joined it, so. Let's see. And everything jumped. Oh God, oh God, oh God. Scroll back up. Oh God. Okay. Do you miss the past days where you reviewed plastic crap knives and airsoft guns? Do you mean, do I miss the videos, or do I miss my life at the point when I was making those videos? Because if it's the first one, yes. If it's the second one, no. Like, I was going through a lot of shit when I did all that, which is why I think I acted so crazy. And I think it was a fun release for, I'm still going through shit. Nothing's gotten better. Nothing's all right. Nothing's fine. I'm running and I'm crying, but yeah. Fuck. So, no. I really enjoyed doing them, and I liked it. Obviously, I liked YouTube better when it was way more interactive and fun for everyone, but unfortunately, you know what I mean, time keeps on ticking, and we're moving towards the New World Order. So there's that. Are we going towards a Brave New World scenario? Or, wow, this is topical. This was wrote 12 minutes ago, and for some reason, this was psychic right here. The Kurdita 123 says, are we going towards a Brave New World scenario in 1984? Personally, I feel Brave New World is more accurate. No, because there's also brutality involved. It's both. There are elements of Brave New World, and there are elements of 1984. I mean, you know, the type of people who are nicey with the New World Order, you know what I mean? I'm sure some people are getting pats and some people are getting hits, you know what I mean? It just depends on how you align yourself with the lizard people, you know? And personally, I'm feeling more 1984 than Brave New World. I don't really enjoy too much of the, you know, I mean, what am I getting out of this? You know? I don't get to go on Twitch and wear, you know, sexy cosplays and get money for nothing. You know? Chicks for free. I gotta talk about all these action figures. I gotta review these folding knives. Okay, that was my rendition of Dire Straits. So, Fetus the Great says, hey, Tolstoy, I've been a big fan for a long time. Have your opinions on objectivism and Ayn Rand changed with your age? No. When I was 16, I believed in shit like that. Then when I was 19, I read the book and I said, nuh-uh, because I was a liberal, and now I'm pretty much back at it. Yeah, Ayn Rand was kind of a prophet. I mean, a lot of her shit's ridiculous. A lot of her social theories are a little bit juvenile, but her basic premise that we shouldn't be cocks is 100% 100% on point. And I think it's really silly that that there has to be some massive philosophy to remind you not to be a cuck. Really, honestly, she's kind of just the basic bitch version of Nietzsche's slave morality versus master morality, which I am all down for. Read that shit, Beyond Good and Evil, because yeah, man, master morality is where it's at, and unfortunately these days we just have too much slave morality, which is hysterical watching people try to rock that. You know what I mean? Where every time a shooting happens, they're just like, "But think of the children." It's like, I don't have children. But think of them. Why should I care about them? Because the children. And that's all they can think is their little, soy brains just ticking in circles going, but think of the children. It's like, I don't have any kids. I don't have a vested interest in society. What's my vested interest? Why should I care that your kids do well? Ooh, I don't care. Fuck 'em. I like my guns and my rights. I'd be a little bit more willing to think socially if society gave me a cut of the pie. And to be perfectly honest, that's Ayn Rand's. That's not really Ayn Rand's statement. That's what I think. Where I think she gets a little juvenile is that she doesn't understand that, yeah, taxes and social structure can exist to benefit a rationally self-interested entity. It's just that I guess they just hardly ever do, or at this point they're not. But maybe in the past they did. I mean, if you were a union guy in the 1940s working for an aluminum company, helping make stuff for the war effort, like you probably liked, government subsidies going towards your company for the war effort or some shit like that. But now it's not helping those people. Now it's more of it's not getting equally distributed. We're taxing, but only certain people are seeing the benefit here. Like, I'm just saying, maybe we should turn off Social Security. I don't have a vested interest in that. I'm not going to get to retire. So why should you have Social Security? You should probably pay off the debts from the infinite banker wars in the Middle East. You should pay off the debt, not me, bitch. But, so slave morality versus master morality, the belief that you have to do it just because of the cyclical logic of like, but think of society, but think of society. And I actually really, a couple anecdotes on that message, or on to finish that message off. One of, I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw this meme that was like, your daily reminder that these are not characters that you should like. They're bad. And if you like them, you're an asshole. And it was like the Joker from The Dark Knight, Tyler Durham, a few others that I can't remember, but they're all essentially antisocial anti-heroes. And I just wanted to respond to that, like, why shouldn't I like them? Because society. And I'm just like, yeah, what if I don't give a fuck about society? If it doesn't benefit me. Imagine talking to a Native American and being like, but my white Europeanism. And they're just like, yeah, we don't care. That's not our shit. But Jesus, yeah, we don't believe in that. We believe in this, in like the great spirit and the sun god, and we dance for his fucking amusement. And if you don't do that, you're the piece of shit, not me. I don't want to change. I'm good. You can fuck off. You know what I mean? Like that's that cyclical. And I swear to God, I was talking with somebody at one point, and he was a friend of mine that I like to debate with a lot, and he tried to invoke John Locke, and he was like, well, John Locke's social contract, and before he could even finish, I straight up turned to Samuel L. Jackson and did like, I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing. What I actually said was, I hope John Locke is getting raped in hell in the prison showers by demons with big meaty cocks every single fucking day. Fuck that shit. I don't come out of my mom's pussy owing you anything. Anything. So the only thing that really makes me pay taxes is a bunch of armed dudes saying that they're going to hurt me if I don't. And to be perfectly honest, one day I think I'm not going to give a shit about those people. One day I'm not going to have anything to lose, and then I'm just going to do whatever. So there's that. Like right now we have this really, really thinly stretched piece of rope, this last line of defense. And I'm like, look, I just want to disappear into the Alaskan wilderness. And then society goes, well, you got to pay taxes, and you got to pay for the health care that everyone else has. And I'm thinking to myself, no, I don't think you didn't hear me. I'm leaving, and if you don't let me leave, that's kidnapping, and we're going to have problems. But we want this stream to be able to stay up. So for all intents and purposes, I love Big Daddy Government. I love paying bills and taxes. I definitely love the social contrivances that in every way are aimed at damning me and mine. So there's that. Coffee review. Dude's name is literally Coffee Review. You're like Coffee Dad. You know that meme, Coffee Dad? Getting some coffee, brewing coffee, fresh pot of coffee, nothing like coffee. Just visited my son's grave. How could I let this happen? You know what I mean? I know all of what you are talking about. I personally pray for the people who are doing it come to salvation one way or another. Anyway, If it ain't bound in human skin, it ain't worth buying. Okay, son. Well, when you find the Tome of Eternal Darkness, you look at it. See, my deal is I just want to study it. I don't want to fuck with it. And the exact thing that I've told people who I do know who try to fuck with that shit is pretend being that you found some alien artifact. You know it's a weapon, but is it a gun or a bomb? If it's a gun, which direction are you aiming it at? If it's a bomb, is there any safe direction to aim it at? Like, you see what I mean? You don't know what the fuck you're doing. Fibonacci, as above, so below, as without, so within. So that is an ancient Hermetic phrase that talks about the nature of the universe. And I think if you study that, and you also take a look at what CERN is doing with the particle collider, and you look into the field of science known as phase wave particle duality and the slit experiment, I think you will understand as above, so below a little bit better. There was this girl, and she said she wanted to go back to school for theoretical physics, and I was like, so do you know about the slit, or do you know about phase wave particle duality? And she's like, oh yeah, the slit experiment. And I was just like, how many people out there, let alone curvy fucking hawk, or fucking thing outside, fucking beautiful curvy psychotic young women know about that shit. All right, bitch, whatever. Fucking, that's up to you, bitch. Anyway, so yeah, look into both as above, so below, and phase wave particle duality. What's this? A Tolstoy stream that works? No, it wasn't working in the beginning. Psych of that. Don't get too excited. It never works for long. I watch it from a Christian point of view to watch what they subliminally say in video games, TV, movies, music, etc. But of course, it is from the world, if you know what I mean. Look, I'm not that. I've studied world religions, but I'm not that fucking religious. So I understand, to be wary of New World Ordery type shit where they're just like, we're going to get RDIF chips planted in our workers' hands. That shit gets me all jonesed up. But at the same time, I don't really believe that like every piece of media has secret demonic entities hiding in it. There's definitely a fucking spectrum, man. There's definitely a fucking spectrum. Now, before I make your ass my new boot factory, Red Foreman. Yeah, man, I do miss that. The Simon Necronomicon, in my opinion, was some guy taking other religious spells, rewrote them to force Cthulhu in and to make quick buck because of the occult rise in the 70s. Bingo, bingo. And that's essentially what I got out of that. And when I came to that conclusion, there's a lot of things where I'm just like, look, man, this isn't ancient. Look, the Tibetan Book of the Living and the Dead, that's fucking ancient. That is old. That is the closest to some occult thing. And there's nothing spoopy in it. I mean, it's spoopy, but there's no spells for bringing zombies back and controlling demons. And it's fucking like, hey, man, when you die, you got 42 days that you were going to spend in the Bardo. And in the Bardo, there are wrath deities and peace deities, but either way, you're going to be tempted to blown about, and you'll see your family there, and then there's the lake that is the infinite reflection of your soul. Well, whatever you do, don't reincarnate, because if you do, you're stuck in this fucking world again for the 40 years or 50 years or however long you live, buddy. Like that. But all this other shit that edgelords like to go, well, it's the Necronomicon, so I can kill my stepdad by whispering oogalooka-too, mecca-leka-hi, lie-leka, that shit's not really real. I think that's a lot of that is myth and made up. I haven't done enough research into the Lesser Key of Solomon, but like what I do know is they're like, oh, well, Solomon supposedly controlled demons and did witchcraft, and he could summon angels too. And it's, well, how do we know this? Well, the Italians found a book, and wait, the Italians found it? Yeah, in the 1600s. The earliest that we can find a reference to it is in the 1600s. So how do you know a bunch of Italian edgelords didn't just go, bop-a-da-boopy, and make a bunch of spooky looking symbols and then go, I heard or my magic? I mean, it was during a time in history, the Renaissance, where like, creativity was at an all-time high, and a lot of that was based around religion. See Dante, who is essentially pretty much one of the major players in what is the modern day Christian lore. And when I say lore, I mean fucking lore. Like, one of the most occult books that I've tried to understand throughout the years is the fucking Bible. Anyone who says that they have a good understanding of what the Bible is really about is a bullshitter, because there's a lot of it in there that is poorly mistranslated and misunderstood, and some of it is a mystery that's lost to time. And I truly respect archaeologists and and philologists and people who have dedicated their lives to truly understanding, like, the Torah and the New Testament and whatnot. And then there's the church, and the church generally just kind of takes whatever the Catholics kind of came up with, their narrative, and then just run with that. And they believe that it is essentially just, word of God, and it can't be changed. So there's a whole bunch of shit in there that somehow got added in. And my favorite is the existence of Satan. That's not even in. That's not even in there. And we talked about that, I think, in one of the live streams. To the existence of hell. Still trying to figure that one out. And every time you bring it to Christians, they're just all like, cyclical goddamn. But the church says, and I'm like, but the church isn't the Bible. Are you using the original fucking work? You know what I mean? It's like Dante makes this fan fiction to make fun of edgelords who were trying to use the narrative of hell to bully people into their religion. And then the Catholics in Italy were just like, perfect! And they just took that and ran with it. And I'm like, okay, well, Jesus literally never mentions a place of eternal fire and shit. Now, it's mixed up. It's a bunch of different reports. First of all, really unpopular opinion, Patrick, but maybe Christians should just take out all of the Bible that isn't the red letters. You know what I mean? If you're making an entire cult based off of the life and times and the teachings of, the supposed avatar of God, maybe just let him talk. Maybe if Jesus thought that he needed, well, okay, I guess the problem is the narrative is that Saul of Tarsus ran into Jesus and Jesus spoke through him and stuff. But like, hey man, how do you know that he wasn't just trying to hijack your religious movement? Because I kind of get the feeling he was just trying to hijack your religious movement. Like, he was also really dogmatic and insane, which, don't get me wrong, I fucking love him for it. But that being said, the closest reference to hell that I can get out of Jesus is he basically says Gehenna, which is a golf course in Israel. So it's a real fucking place. It was a burning garbage dump, but it used to be a place where pagans would sacrifice their children to fire. So when they say wailing and gnashing of teeth, they're physically talking about the point where they would sacrifice kids to fire. But now, in Jesus' time, it was a garbage dump. So read it within context. By the way, one of the greatest memes I've ever seen was a picture of Jesus Christ face palming, and it's the Straight Outta Compton logo, but it says straight out of context. And I'm like, perfect. Yeah, it's straight out of fucking context. So Jesus literally says in the Sermon on the Mount, where will you be if you do not follow these, these teachings? Where will you be if you don't take my word for it? You will be in Gehenna with the wailing and gnashing of teeth. So he's literally saying you'll be in a burning garbage pit. Well, now it's a golf course in Israel, so it's even worse than a burning garbage pit. Imagine being stuck there for all of eternity and listening to Jewish, Israeli, bankers, freaking, knocking the links and talking about 3% APR financing or some shit like that. Like, fuck, that would be god awful for the next eternity. I would rather go to Dante's hell. But either way, there's a lot of shit in there that isn't really, I don't know, that's part of the narrative. It's part of the lore that's been created. You know what I mean? The concept that there was an angel that fell from heaven and became the devil. Well, that's not even in the Bible. So you might want to try reading the Bible and basing all of your religious beliefs, if you claim are based on the Bible, off the actual Bible. I know that's a really weird concept, but like, come with me now. So. Damn, Tolstoy, that is the most diplomatic tabletop game scenario I ever heard. Meanwhile, I fucked my DM's villains much to their dismay. Oh, stop. Well, I wasn't going to fuck a ancient Haitian death god, and we weren't going to beat him anyway, but God knows. I just wanted the world to follow the perfect libertarian future. Hey, I've been meaning to ask why you deleted the depression video. A lot of people have asked that. I've explained it already like 10 times because of an old and cringy video on a subject that I mean to make another video about now that I have a much better stance and understanding and I can place it in much better context. So I decided I've gotten rid of some old stuff that I'm just like, nah, this is too, like, I really, really wanted to delete the old Christian videos, but I never did. It's not as important. Do you watch Freeman's Mind too? I did see some episodes of Freeman's Mind too. It's okay. It wasn't as funny as the first time I saw Freeman's Mind. The old oil salesman is here. Get your oil here. All the kids, we have WD-40 half price today only. Just enter the code Tolstoy. And there he is, folks. Yeah, it's totally a coincidence that it came out a few years after the Dunwich Horror and other Lovecraft movies came out. Yeah, really. Holy fuck, I just realized how long I've been watching your videos. 9 goddamn years. Yeah, how long have I been making them? Oh, everything jumped, and now I gotta scroll back up again. Hey, Max is in the stream. I just noticed that. I'll read your comments in a few minutes. Hey, Max, your daily reminder that there were plenty of really great... Never mind. I'm not gonna be a troll. I don't want you to blow up my PlayStation 4. But yeah, man, there's been. Remember when Pixar was good and then they got sold to Disney? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I mean, guns didn't do much for Texas in the El Paso and Odessa shootings. I'm pro Second Amendment generally, but just saying they didn't. But that's because no one in there had one. If they had reported that now in that same state, there was somebody who was shooting up a chapel and a dude with an AR-15 did stop it. So it's a matter of if you have them. Maxwell says, hey, Tolstoy, quick request of advice since you were the workout king. Lost a bunch of weight years ago, put it back on, but trying to get back in shape again in my old routine. So what I've been hearing now, which is the cutting edge of all the cultists who are essentially the CrossFitters, is that HIIT is where it's at, which is short for high intensity interval training. So I'm not exactly sure about how this works, but essentially you will actually lose more weight and burn more fat, not really from doing solid state cardio like exercise like running, but by pretty simple compound movements that take up like, all of the bodies, like require all the body to, to work all at once, being done with, I would imagine low weight or low pressure, but being done as quickly as humanly possible and in short bursts. So for example, burpees for 30 seconds, rest for, I think they say 60 seconds. So twice as long as what you were working, and then something else. So like jumping jacks, but it can't just be you doing, regular. You really gotta do, as much as, so I don't know. I'm going to try this when I do my cut. So right now I'm bulking, but when I go to cut, what I'm going to do is just do weightlifting routine, but I'm going to up the reps to an insane amount, lower the weight to a minuscule amount. We're talking like 20-pound dumbbells. And instead of doing what I'll give you an example. I have to go get something. Hang on. All right. So what we got here, this is I'll just hit my foot on something. This is a 20 pounds. This is relatively light. So I would probably, I'm trying not to injure myself because I worked this yesterday, but at 20 pounds, that's actually harder to do as fast as I thought I could do it. I really thought I'd be able to kind of really pound it, but not really. So maybe I would do like a 15 or even a 10 and just really put 2 and 2 and just continue to do that very fast. Push-ups as fast as you can, sit-ups as fast as you can. I think that is kind of HIIT. A lot of the HIIT stuff they're like knee raises, you know what I mean? But I'm not big on knee raises. I don't like burpees all that much. So divine intervention at its finest. Advice to rewire my brain like before and get a high from exercising and not eating shitty Taco Bell. Yeah, I can do that. I've done that kind of myself as well. I generally find that you've got to push yourself to the point of absolute exhaustion, and then your brain will give you, what's the word? A little bit of burst of endorphins. What you're getting a high off of is the endorphins, natural painkillers. Let's see. Why lie, I guess, asks, believe in God, not just religion, but God. Well, I've met him, so yeah. We're actually all one reality experiencing itself subjectively. So there's that. Don't ask me how I know that. I had joined when you were making the fisting motion. I'm super sorry, man. Trigger warnings on all my streams. You are all free now. No, we're not. Haha, you proved you're better off with a concealed than a knife on cam. I don't get it. Remember Bambi getting a Coke from the Rape Shack? Getting a Coke from the Rape Shack. I guess you're talking about that, yeah, that thing with that cartoon of the deer in the public park or whatever, but you phrased that so bizarre that I don't, okay. Oh yeah, that was the occult at salvation part. You, of course, talk and talk while we continue to ask. Oh, okay. I love how the chat is making you rotate around topics so frequently. Well, I imagine that's part of why people tune in. Black magic is real, says Wiley. Okay. This is my new favorite Tolstoy quote. What? They even changed Saturday for the rest day and made it Sunday at church. Yeah, that's true. Have researched Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. I know mostly about Judaism, Christianity, Taoism, Buddhism, and a little... Oh, I just threw up some of that oatmeal. God damn. This is why I didn't want to work out immediately. Probably from lifting really quick. And a little bit, I do know a little bit about Islam. Yeah. I know mostly about Judaism and Christianity and some Islam, all of which are interesting to me. That is Moloch and Baal worship. No, man, our elites totally don't worship Moloch. But if you looked at certain emails, they do say Hail Moloch in them. So that's disheartening. Something the Jews today still do. They're going to sacrifice a red heifer next year. Okay, one. Man, I think that makes this stream now unusable. Thanks, Dick. Thank you. Secondly, I'd heard something about a red heifer and how there's some Talmudic scripture that mentions that it's something, but I don't know. So Michael did not cast out Satan out of heaven. No. Wait, find that quote for me in the Bible. Go ahead. I'll wait. Go ahead. Look it up on Google. It's not in the Bible. It's in the Book of Enoch, which is a fan fiction that didn't end up in the Hebrew canon. So if we're accepting that as true, then why don't we accept everything as true? Or, for example, there was a lot of Gnostic texts that depicted, a more spiritual, laid-back, less judgmental Jesus, which is really what he was supposed to be anyway. But what I'm saying is like, when he dies in the Book of Nicodemus, Jesus descends into Sheol, which isn't hell. That counters the narrative of hell. And so Catholics had to go and just kind of edit that out. But so if we agree in the Book of Enoch, which the Jews edited out, why don't we agree in the Book of Nicodemus, which the Christians edited out? I don't understand. You're picking and choosing what you want to be in there to match your narrative. And the worst part is you didn't even include it in the fucking book. So if your modern day Bibles don't include the mention of Michael throwing out one of the archangels, why do you believe it? Tolstoy, I know you have an AK still. Do you still have the Ruger rifle? No, I sold it. Fetus the Great. Hey, Tolstoy, thanks for answering my question. I got to run, but I look forward to catching more streams and talking more philosophy and occultism. Yep. Yes, give us the chair. Do an interview with your chair, Tolstoy. Sorry, Tolstoy, I've gone too far. Oil made me do it. Because it all adds up? Not too hard, lol. I don't get it. No, I'm asking, if it's not even in the book, why do you believe it? So do you believe? I don't understand. It's not in the book. You have to base your religion off of the book, not what a bunch of preachers say. The preachers could be lying. You can't say, well, we're using the Bible, that's how we know, and then be like, but LOL, I can add anything I want. Or else there's a part in the Bible that says you must donate $100 every month to pay on Patreon to Tolstoy, or else you'll burn in hell. I mean, I don't have a reference for that spirit. I don't have a scriptural reference, but you have to believe it because I said it. Or wait, do I have to get I got to get a collar? I got to get the little priest collar? Tolstoy, do a stream with your brother. Okay. We'll do that one day. Anyway, it's hot. And I think, Jesus, do I have more water? Oh, thank God. Delicious agua. Well, shit, if you say it's in the Bible, then it must be true. Makes sense. Makes sense. Well, and this has been a terrible abortion of a video, and I'm not sure that I'll be able to keep it up. I don't think we said anything too bad.